Hola, we are excited to take you with us on an unforgettable adventure across Spain, diving deep into the stories of some of its most iconic and welcoming monuments and buildings. This is a video created by human intelligence, by two travelers eager to share the layers of history from prehistoric wonders to contemporary marvels that make Spain so special. We've poured a lot of love and effort into this epic journey, and we promise it will feel like traveling through time with good friends. Let's get started and explore this remarkable land, one incredible sight at a time. Hola, ¿qué tal? Hello and welcome to the channel Made by Humans, where we want you to be happier traveling through Spain and Portugal with the help of our videos and of our self-guided walking tours. Before we dive in, two important clarifications. First, this is definitely not a history of Spain in a single video. We are just highlighting a selection of monuments and buildings among the tens of thousands you will find in the country that are relevant to different periods of the history of Spain. By visiting them, your understanding of Spanish history should be richer. But this video, no, any other video can ever be a substitute for a collection of good history books. And second, while we're talking about Spain, it is more precise to say we are exploring the part of the Iberian Peninsula that corresponds to modern-day Spain. That's because the idea of Spain, as we know it, with its familiar borders and cultural identity, really only took shape from the modern age onward. And if we want to be even more accurate, the administrative divisions we recognize today date mainly from the 19th century. So, with that in mind, get ready to step into our time tunnel where each monument is a gateway to a different era, a different story, and a deeper understanding of this fascinating country's past. Vámonos! Our exploration begins in prehistory. We begin our long trip more than 1.2 million years ago at Atapuerca, one of the most significant prehistoric archaeological sites in Europe. Located near Burgos, the Sierra de Atapuerca contains caves and trench sites with fossil and tool evidence revealing early human ancestors. The site offers priceless insights into human evolution. Atapuerca was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2000 for its unparalleled contribution to understanding our prehistoric past. Visitors can take guided tours to key excavation areas, although access to actual caves is limited to preserve this scientific treasure. We don't travel long for the next stop, the Cueva de Altamira or Altamira Cave, near the northern coast of Spain. We're traveling back in time to a period during the Upper Paleolithic era. While you won't be able to see the original cave itself, the Altamira Museum houses a magnificent life-size replica that beautifully captures the cave's interior. Inside the replica, you can admire some of the most outstanding examples of prehistoric art ever discovered. Vivid, detailed paintings of bison, deer, horses, and other animals created by early humans. The Altamira cave paintings revolutionized our understanding of prehistoric humans, showing that they were capable of complex creativity far earlier than previously believed. UNESCO recognized it as a World Heritage Site in 1985. We travel next to Andalusia, where the dolmens of Antequera stand among Europe's greatest prehistoric monuments. Built over 6,000 years ago during the Neolithic and Bronze Ages, the tombs are remarkable for their size and precision. Massive stone slabs forming burial chambers aligned with a surreal natural landscape. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2016, the dolmens of Antequera reveal how early farming communities both honored their dead and understood their environment. Today, visitors can explore the archaeological complex, discovering how these early builders created one of humanity's first monumental landscapes. Between 1500 BC and the 1st century BC, the island of Menorca, and part of Majorca as well, witnessed the expansion of the Talayotic culture, spanning the Bronze and Iron Ages. Talayots are massive megalithic towers thought to have served as watchtowers, meeting places, or religious centers. Today, visitors can explore several well-preserved examples, such as Talatí de Dalt, making it a memorable experience to connect with Menorca's prehistoric past. UNESCO recognized the examples of Talayotic culture as a World Heritage Site in 2023. We leave prehistory behind and step into ancient history with the Phoenicians. The archaeological site of Gadir, right in the heart of modern Cadiz, offers a fascinating journey into the city's roots. Gadir is considered one of the oldest cities in Western Europe and the earliest Phoenician settlement on the Iberian Peninsula. Structured into different occupation levels, the archaeological site showcases not only Phoenician urban architecture, but also the transition to later Roman activity. Gadir is a must-see for anyone seeking to understand the origins of Cadiz and its pivotal role in Mediterranean trade. We trade the south for the north to introduce castros, fortified villages that stand as an important reminder of the Celtic presence in the northwest of Spain. These settlements, dating from the 6th century BC and lasting well into the Common Era, were typically composed of circular dwellings clustered with defensive walls. Many castros can be explored in Galicia, with the Castro de Baroña perched dramatically by the sea, standing out as one of the most spectacular and well-preserved examples. Visiting these sites offers a vivid glimpse into the daily lives and defensive strategies of ancient Celtic communities in the region. Empúries in Catalan and Púries in Spanish is a unique archaeological site right by the sea in the region of Catalonia, representing the Greek presence on the Iberian Peninsula. Founded in the 6th century BC by the Greek settlers, it features well-preserved remains of the Greek city, including temples, markets, and homes. It was the largest Greek colony on the peninsula and served as a vital commercial and cultural hub. Later, Empúries became a Roman city, playing a key role as a military camp and port. The Roman ruins here show the site's evolution and provide a great transition to the monuments, which we will see shortly, representing Roman Hispania. We traveled to the National Archaeological Museum in Madrid to contemplate a splendid representative of Iberian civilization. The Dama de Elche, the Lady of Elche, is a striking limestone bust discovered near Elche, Alicante. Renowned for its intricate headdress and detailed facial features, the bust likely served a funerary purpose and reflects the sophisticated artistry and religious symbolism of Iberian culture. Today, it stands as one of Spain's most famous archaeological treasures, embodying the rich heritage of the Iberian Peninsula before Roman times. Tarraco, present-day Tarragona, was one of the earliest Roman footholds on the Iberian Peninsula. Founded in the 3rd century BC, it quickly became the main base for Roman campaigns in Hispania. Its position on the Mediterranean coast gave it everything: military protection, trade opportunities, and an easy link to Rome itself. Reflecting its growing importance, the emperor granted all its inhabitants full Roman citizenship, making Tarraco one of the first communities in Hispania where locals enjoyed the rights and privileges of full Roman citizens. Walk through modern Tarragona and you can still sense that ancient grandeur. By the late 3rd and 4th centuries AD, political upheaval and invasions led to Tarraco's decline, but its legacy remains strong. So much so that in 2000, the archaeological ensemble of Tarraco was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, preserving its remarkable Roman monuments for all to experience today. Baello Claudia was an important Roman town located near modern-day Bologna, a little town in the coast of Cadiz. Founded at the end of the 2nd century BC, it grew to become centuries later a thriving center known especially for its fish processing industry. The well-preserved ruins include temples, a theater, public baths, and a forum, offering a rare and complete glimpse into Roman urban life on the Atlantic coast. Baello Claudia's location overlooking the Strait of Gibraltar made it a key trading hub between the Iberian Peninsula and North Africa. The Roman theatre of Mérida stands out as one of the finest ancient theatres in Spain, and it's also the last monument in our list that was built before the dawn of the Common Era. Constructed in the late 1st century BC, the theatre cleverly utilizes a hillside to accommodate some 6,000 spectators. If you stroll around Mérida today, you will discover this is just one piece of its incredible Roman legacy. Recognizing this incredible heritage, UNESCO granted World Heritage status in 1993 to the archaeological ensemble of Mérida. And each summer, the old Roman theatre comes alive with contemporary performances, letting new crowds experience culture just as the Romans once did. The Aqueduct of Segovia is not just one of Spain's most iconic Roman landmarks. It's also the first monument on our list built in the current era. Designed to bring fresh water from the mountains straight into the city, this structure underpinned Segovia's growth and daily life under Roman rule. The aqueduct stretches nearly 17 kilometers, but its showstopper is the double row of granite arches rising dramatically above the city center. Its blend of practical genius and architectural beauty easily justifies its place among Spain's greatest monuments. This enduring symbol has earned international acclaim. In 1985, UNESCO recognized the Aqueduct of Segovia, along with the historic city, as a World Heritage Site. The amphitheater of Italica, located near modern Seville, is a stunning testament to the Roman engineering and social life in the 2nd century AD. Capable of holding up to 25,000 spectators, it ranks amongst the largest amphitheaters in the Roman Empire. This grand structure was central to the vibrant public life of Italica, a city famed not only for its impressive architecture, but also as the birthplace of two Roman emperors, Trajan and Hadrian. Italica's importance extends beyond the amphitheater itself. As one of the earliest Roman settlements in the Iberian Peninsula, it played a key role in the Romanization of the region. The city boasts a rich collection of ruins, including baths, houses with intricate mosaics, and streets laid out according to Roman urban planning principles. The walls of Lugo are among Europe's best preserved Roman fortifications and the only complete Roman city walls that still encircle an entire town. Stretching over 2 kilometers with 85 towers and 10 gates, these massive stone walls served as a formidable defense against invasions, showcasing the military strength of Roman Hispania. They are the last Roman monument on our list, marking the grand finale of Spain's Roman architectural heritage. Visitors today can walk the entire length of the walls. Additionally, an interpretation center provides detailed insights into the wall's construction, history, and strategic importance. Recognizing their exceptional preservation and historical significance, the Roman walls of Lugo were declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2000. With the fall of the Roman Empire, we enter a new historic era, medieval history. After the Romans came the Visigoths, a Germanic people who ruled much of the Iberian Peninsula from the early 5th century until 711 AD. In southwestern France, the Visigoths expanded into Spain, establishing their capital in Toledo and governing for nearly 3 centuries. They played a crucial role in shaping early medieval Hispania, blending Roman traditions with their own culture and laws. An excellent place to learn about the Visigoths is the Museum of the Concilios and Visigoth Culture in Toledo. Housed in a historic church, the museum offers rich insights into Visigothic society, religion, and governance, making it an invaluable resource for understanding this important period. Visigothic rule came to a sudden end in 711 AD when an invading Muslim force crossed from North Africa into the Iberian Peninsula. After the decisive Battle of Guadalete, where King Roderick was killed, the Umayyad armies quickly conquered most of the territory, bringing an abrupt end to nearly 3 centuries of Visigothic dominance. This conquest marked the beginning of the Muslim presence in Spain known as al-andalus, and a profound transformation in the peninsula's history. Entering a new chapter in Spain's history, the Mezquita de Córdoba is the first monument on our list from Muslim Spain. Its story begins in 785 when the founder of the Umayyad Emirate of Córdoba decided to build a grand mosque. What's amazing is that while construction began with his vision, the mosque kept growing for nearly 2 centuries. Each new emir and caliph enlarged or embellished it, so that the building we see today reflects a tapestry of evolving Islamic art and ambition. The mezquita's most iconic feature, the forest of red and white arches in its vast hypostyle hall, invites visitors to wander and look upward in awe. After the Reconquest, the mosque received the addition in its middle of a Christian cathedral, but much of the original Islamic structure survives. The unique blend of Islamic and Christian influences makes it a true masterpiece of world architecture, and in 1984 UNESCO recognized the Mosque Cathedral of Córdoba as a World Heritage Site. Medina Zahara earns a special place on this list, not only for its breathtaking scale, but also as a symbol of the zenith of Muslim Spain's culture and political power. Conceived in the 10th century as a palace city, Medina Zahara was designed to impress rivals and subjects alike with unparalleled luxury and grandeur. The sprawling site covers about 112 hectares, making it one of the largest archaeological sites in Spain. Yet, only around 10% of the city has been excavated so far, leaving vast stretches still hidden beneath the landscape and hinting at buried wonders yet to be uncovered. Despite its short life as the political center of al-Andalus, the city was sacked and abandoned during civil upheaval between 1010 and 1013. Medina Zahara's ruins evoke the splendor and ambition of the Umayyad Caliphate. Recognizing this outstanding legacy, UNESCO declared Medina Zahara a World Heritage Site in 2018. The Aljaferia Palace in Zaragoza stands as one of northern Spain's most remarkable reminders of Islamic art and political history. Built in the 11th century, when the region was ruled not by the Umayyad Caliphate like the south, but by independent local kingdoms known as taifas, the palace was the seat of the powerful Taifa of Zaragoza, a short-lived realm that flourished during a period when Al-Andalus was fragmented into rival states following the collapse of the central Umayyad authority. The Aljaferia is the only surviving grand palace from the Taifa period, giving visitors a direct connection to a unique chapter in Spain's medieval history. Its ornate arches, delicate stuccos, and decorative ceilings evoke the splendor and refinement of its era, while later Christian modifications add even more layers of interest. In 2001, the palace was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Another part of Spain, another Muslim dynasty, and another type of construction. Welcome to the bañuelo, Granada's ancient Arab baths. Built in the 11th century during the Cid dynasty, these baths offer a glimpse into the daily social and hygienic rituals that shaped life in Muslim Granada. The bañuelo is among the oldest and best preserved Islamic bathhouses in Spain. With its sequence of rooms, horseshoe arches, and magical star-shaped skylights that dapple the interior with light, the bañuelo stands as a rare and tangible link to the customs, engineering, and artistry of medieval Islamic Granada. From the heart of Muslim Granada to late Muslim Seville, the Giralda offers a striking example of architecture from the final centuries of Islamic rule in Spain. Built as the minaret for the Great Mosque of Seville, this soaring tower epitomizes the elegance and creativity of the Almohad dynasty, especially its ingenious ramped interior, which allowed muezzins to ride up on horseback to issue the call to prayer. When Christian forces conquered Seville, the minaret was converted into the bell tower for Seville Cathedral, blending Islamic foundations with later Renaissance additions. Today, the Giralda stands as one of the city's most beloved landmarks. Recognizing its cultural importance and architectural mastery, UNESCO listed the Giralda and the cathedral as a World Heritage Site in 1987. As the final flourish of Muslim architecture in Spain, the Alhambra in Granada represents both the end of an era and its most glorious achievement. Built during the 13th and 14th centuries by the Nasrid dynasty, the last Muslim rulers in Spain, this remarkable palace and fortress complex was envisioned not just as a royal residence but as a self-contained city. For anyone exploring Spain, the Alhambra is a must-see. Its blend of fortress defenses and palace opulence, serene patios, exceptional ceilings, and sweeping hilltop views over Granada make it an unforgettable experience. The Alhambra's importance as a crown jewel of Nasrid culture is recognized worldwide, and in 1984 it was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, protecting its graceful architecture and storied past for generations of visitors and scholars to come. With the fall of the Nasrid dynasty in Granada, the entire Iberian Peninsula returned to Christian rule. But this reconquest was anything but swift. The process began way back in the 8th century and continued over hundreds of years. Christian armies gradually advanced south, carving out new kingdoms and pushing the frontier farther each generation. As the Christians reclaimed territory, remarkable new art and architecture began to emerge, shaped by centuries of coexistence and blending with Islamic culture. A key part of this story are the Mozarabs, Christians who lived under Muslim rule in al-Andalus. They maintained their own faith and customs while adopting aspects of Arab language, art, and daily life, enriching the cultural landscape of medieval Spain. Near Oviedo, two breathtaking churches, San Miguel de Lillo and Santa Maria del Naranco, built in the mid-9th century under King Ramiro I, are masterpieces of Asturian pre-Romanesque architecture. Their design reflects Visigothic roots and Mozarabic influences, celebrating the resilience and identity of the Christian North during uncertain times. Recognizing their universal value, UNESCO included these and other Asturian pre-Romanesque monuments as World Heritage Sites, highlighting their significance as both stunning works of art and symbols of survival and innovation. Building on the story of Oviedo's pre-Romanesque churches, testaments to life in the first Christian kingdoms, another chapter unfolds farther northeast, where frontier faith and creativity continue to flourish. Both the Asturian churches and the Mozarabic churches of El Serrablo in Huesca are vibrant survivals from the earliest days of the Reconquest, built as communities navigated shifting borders and cultural influences. In the Serrablo region near Sabiñánigo, these humble rural churches were shaped by Christians living under or alongside Muslim rule in the 10th and 11th centuries. Their horseshoe arches and slender bell towers reveal a fascinating blend of local traditions and Andalusian styles, echoing the Mozarabs, Christians who absorbed elements of Arabic art and architecture into their worship spaces while keeping their faith. Together, the pre-Romanesque and the Mozarabic churches embodied the spirit of survival, adaptation, and artistic fusion that defined early life in Spain's reconquered territories. Moving on from the Mozarabic churches of El Serrablo, we now reach a pivotal moment, the birth of kingdoms and monumental architecture. The monastery of San Juan de la Peña was dramatically built into and sheltered by a giant rock overhang. It beautifully illustrates the transition from pre-Romanesque to Romanesque. Founded in the 10th century, the monastery wasn't just an isolated spiritual retreat. It grew into a major religious and political center for the emerging Kingdom of Aragon. Its solid architecture and iconic setting mark a new phase in Spanish history, one where unified Christian kingdoms began to consolidate territory and identity, leaving behind grand monuments that symbolized their newfound strength and cohesion. In the small town of San Millán de la Cogolla in the Rioja region stand two monasteries, Suso in the upper part and Yuso in the lower part, that played a significant role in the development of the Spanish language. Here is where documents representing the earliest known written words in an early form of Spanish were found. These monasteries have been recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Sites since 1997 for their outstanding role in the birth of the Spanish language and European monasticism. They embody the transition from Latin to the vernacular Romance languages and the origins of Spanish literary culture. While the monasteries we have seen stand as spiritual symbols, medieval Christian Spain was shaped not only by churches and monasteries, but also by formidable defensive structures. Fortresses like the Castillo de Loarre, the Castle of Loarre, were crucial in securing newly conquered territories, though the shifting front lines often made such strongholds obsolete over time. The Castle of Loarre is one of Europe's best preserved Romanesque castles. Perched on a rock hill overlooking Huesca, it combined military and religious functions. Its massive stone walls, cylindrical towers, and intricate carvings perfectly showcase the architectural style and strategic mindset of medieval Christian Spain during the Reconquest. The castle not only symbolizes territorial defense and royal power, but also reflects the evolving political landscape that shaped Aragon and Spain. Among the endless list of wonderful Romanesque monuments in Spain, the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela in Galicia stands out as the crowning jewel. Construction of this majestic cathedral began in 1075 and was largely completed by the early 12th century. One of its most celebrated artistic treasures is the Pórtico de la Gloria, the Portal of the Glory, a masterful Romanesque sculptural portal widely regarded as one of the greatest masterpieces of medieval art. Recognizing its outstanding value to both architectural history and Christian pilgrimage, UNESCO declared the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela and the entire Old Town a World Heritage Site in 1985. Its influence on Romanesque and later architectural styles is profound, and its role as spiritual beacon has drawn countless pilgrims over the centuries, making it one of Spain's must-see monuments and an emblem of medieval European culture. From Santiago de Compostela, we move to another essential symbol of medieval Christian Spain, the walls of Avila. While the cathedral represents the religious and cultural might of the Reconquest, Avila's imposing fortifications show the fiercely defensive and turbulent nature of this era. Built mainly between the 11th and 14th centuries, these 2.5-kilometer granite walls protected a city reborn on contested frontier lands. Recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1985, the old town of Avila, with its walls and numerous Romanesque churches, is among the best preserved in Europe. Walking on the walls offers stunning views and a tangible connection to the city's past, neatly bridging the cultural pilgrimage embodied by Santiago with the martial resilience of towns like Avila, as Spain prepared to move next into the Gothic age and its architectural innovations. The entire Laseo Church in Zaragoza is an outstanding example of Romanesque, Gothic and Renaissance architecture, but it makes it to the list primarily because of its remarkable external wall, known as the Muro de la Parroquieta de Laseo. Granada was conquered in 1492, but the influence of Islamic art endured for centuries. No art form illustrates this better than mudéjar. This unique style was developed by Muslims who remained in Christian territories after the Reconquest, flourishing between the 12th and 17th centuries. The impressive wall is from 1374, a magnificent example of mudéjar art that beautifully blends Islamic ornamental motifs with Christian architecture, reflecting centuries of cultural coexistence. The Church of Laseo was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site along other mudéjar monuments in Aragon. Another wonderful example of the transition that took place from Muslim to Christian rule is the Salón de Embajadores, or Hall of Ambassadors, the grand ceremonial throne room of the Real Alcázar of Seville. Rebuilt in the 15th century under Christian rule, but richly decorated in the mudéjar style, it showcases the lasting influence of Islamic art. Its magnificent wood panel dome and intricate decoration symbolize the blending of Muslim and Christian artistic traditions. The Real Alcázar of Seville, including the Hall of Ambassadors, was registered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987. Following the Romanesque period, the Gothic style took hold in Spain from the 13th century onward. This transition is embodied by the Monasterio de San Juan de los Reyes in Toledo, a masterpiece of the Isabelline style named after Queen Isabella I of Castile. Constructed in the late 15th century, this monastery was commissioned by the Catholic monarchs and symbolizes the consolidation of Christian rule in Spain. The Isabelline style is characterized by the absence of Moorish influences, focusing instead on Gothic forms enriched with heraldic motifs, complex ornamentation, and elements foreshadowing the Renaissance. This artistic progression from the Real Alcázar's mudéjar fusion to the Isabelline clarity of San Juan de los Reyes perfectly illustrates Spain's journey from multicultural coexistence to the dominance of Christian monarchy, faith, and culture. When it comes to Gothic style, the Cathedral of Burgos is widely acknowledged as one of the purest examples of Gothic architecture in the country. Begun in 1221, it closely follows the French Gothic style, emphasizing verticality, lightness, and elegant ornamentation with soaring spires, flying buttresses, and intricate stone carvings. Its clean, coherent Gothic design sets it apart from other Spanish cathedrals that blend Gothic with Renaissance or Baroque additions. The cathedral was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1984, recognized as a comprehensive and outstanding example of Gothic architecture in Spain. Equally outstanding as a prime example of Gothic architecture in Spain is the Cathedral of Toledo, embodying the spiritual heart of Spain for centuries. Toledo was not only the political capital of Spain for some time, but also the religious capital. Its cathedral symbolizes this central role as the epicenter of Catholic faith in Spain after the Reconquest. The Toledo Cathedral combines the French Gothic architectural tradition with local mudéjar and later Renaissance influences. Inside, it houses precious artworks, and its grand scale and ornate decoration reflect Toledo's importance over centuries as a religious and cultural capital. The importance of Gothic style in Spain extends far beyond religious architecture. It also left a lasting mark on civil architecture, reflecting the cultural and economic dynamism of medieval cities. A prime example of this is the Lonja de la Seda in Valencia, a masterpiece of late Valencian Gothic civil architecture. Originally serving as the Silk Exchange, these buildings symbolize the wealth and power of Valencia as a thriving Mediterranean mercantile city. The Lonja de la Seda stands out with its grand hall supported by twisted columns, elaborate vaulted ceilings, and richly decorated details that illustrate the fanciful yet structural ingenuity of Gothic design applied to secular functions. Recognized for its exceptional universal value, the Lonja de la Seda was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1996. It remains one of the finest secular Gothic buildings on the continent, highlighting how Gothic architecture could embody not only spiritual but also commercial power and prestige in late medieval Spain. The Royal Palace in Olite is another example of civil Gothic architecture, this time designed primarily for residential purposes. It functioned as a royal palace and court seat for the Kingdom of Navarre. Despite its castle-like appearance, the building was conceived with a focus on a comfortable royal living enriched with the ornate Gothic style. The palace is famous for its extraordinary silhouette, formed by a complex of towers, chambers, courtyards and gardens surrounded by high walls and moats. Its apparently irregular design reflects the continuous expansions and renovations carried out over decades, creating an eclectic yet harmonious ensemble. Our final example of Gothic civil architecture is the Atarazanas Reales de Barcelona, known in Catalan as the Drassanes Reials. This historic shipyard was where the Crown of Aragon built the galleys that enabled its powerful expansion throughout the Mediterranean. The Atarazanas Reales de Barcelona stand as one of the most remarkable examples of Gothic civil architecture, featuring a broad, vaulted space supported by robust pillars and large windows that fill the interior with natural light. Today, this magnificent complex houses the Maritime Museum of Barcelona. Inside the museum, visitors can admire the splendid full-scale replica of the majestic war galley of Don Juan de Austria, built here. It stands as a powerful symbol of Spain's naval heritage and Christian resistance in the Mediterranean. In a territory where conflict was frequent, castles abound. One of the best examples among the myriad castles you will discover in Spain, bridging medieval and modern history, is the Alcázar of Segovia. Dating back to the early 12th century, this majestic fortress served multiple roles throughout the centuries, including a Roman fort, royal palace, military academy, and state prison. During the reigns of Philip II and Philip III, significant renovations transformed the castle's interior and exterior, including the construction of its iconic slate roofs, which give the Alcázar its distinctive fairy tale appearance. The Alcázar has been a symbol of Castilian royal power, witnessing coronations, royal weddings, and historic events. Today, the Alcázar is part of Segovia's old city, which was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1985. And while we hope from medieval history to modern history, it's the perfect time to grab a quick coffee. Thanks to some amazing friends of the channel who've treated us through Buy Me a Coffee. Honestly, it keeps the camera steady and the energy high. If you'd like to say thanks to, or just make sure we stay caffeinated for the next monument, you will find a link in the first comment below this video. Cheers! Modern history in Spain is generally considered to begin around the late 15th to early 16th century. A key milestone marking the start of this period is the completion of the Reconquest in 1492, when the Catholic monarchs conquered the Muslim kingdom of Granada. That same year, Christopher Columbus' first voyage to the Americas initiated Spain's global exploration and colonial era. The onset of the Spanish Renaissance and the rise of the Habsburg dynasty with Charles I, also Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, further defined the beginning of Spain's modern era. A striking symbol of this transition is the Palace of Charles V within the Alhambra of Granada. The palace stands as one of the most outstanding Renaissance monuments in Spain. Its innovative design harmoniously blends classical Italian Renaissance principles with its iconic circular courtyard enclosed within a square facade, making it unique and architecturally groundbreaking for its time. The palace was commissioned by Emperor Charles V as a statement of imperial power and Christian triumph over the prior Islamic rule, symbolized by the Nasrid palaces surrounding it. Although construction was only completed in the 20th century, it remains a breathtaking example of Renaissance artistry and architectural mastery. The palace, with the rest of the Alhambra, was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1984. A monumental symbol of this period of expansion and grandeur is the Royal Monastery of San Lorenzo del Escorial, commissioned by King Philip II and built during the 16th century. El Escorial embodies the ideals of Renaissance architecture, blending classical simplicity with monumental scale and austerity, reflecting Spain's political power, religious devotion, and imperial ambitions at the height of its golden age. This royal complex served not only as a palace and monastery, but also as a dynastic mausoleum and center for learning, anchoring Spain's cultural and spiritual identity during its overseas expansion. The monastery and site of El Escorial were declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1984. Visiting this remarkable monument offers a fascinating experience, allowing one to explore its vast halls, basilica, royal pantheon, beautiful library, and extensive gardens, each corner steeped in history and artistic mastery. It would be impossible to talk about the Renaissance in Spain without mentioning the magnificent ensemble of Úbeda and Baeza. We have singled out the Cathedral of Baeza to illustrate this rich display of Renaissance art. Originally a Gothic structure, it was extensively reconstructed and transformed during the 16th century by one of Spain's greatest masters of Renaissance architecture. The cathedral's sumptuous interior exemplifies the orderly, symmetrical, high Renaissance style. The cathedral forms part of the UNESCO-listed Renaissance monumental ensemble of Úbeda and Baeza, recognized in 2003 for their instrumental role in introducing and spreading Renaissance architectural ideas in Spain and Latin America. Among the grand monuments that chronicle Spain's imperial rise and its conquest of America, the journey begins with the University of Alcalá de Henares. This university was a pioneering institution of Renaissance learning and the intellectual hub that prepared many of the administrators, clergy, and scholars integral to Spain's colonial enterprise. Its innovative campus plan and humanist curriculum greatly influenced the development of universities both in Europe and the Americas. Recognized for its outstanding universal value, the university and historic precinct of Alcalá de Henares were declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This distinction honors Alcalá as the world's first planned university city of the modern age and highlights its cultural impact. Alcalá de Henares was, of course, the birthplace of Miguel de Cervantes, whose masterpiece Don Quixote profoundly shaped Spanish culture. And speaking of Don Quixote, if you want to see some of the windmills immortalized in Cervantes' novel, make sure to visit the famous windmills of Consuegra. Located in the province of Toledo, these picturesque structures are one of Spain's most recognizable landmarks. Built starting in the 16th century, they once harnessed the region's constant winds to turn wheat into flour. Today, 12 windmills remain, each with a unique name drawn from Don Quixote itself. Several can be visited inside, where you will discover exhibits explaining their traditional operation and history. Climb to the upper floors to admire the original machinery and enjoy sweeping views of La Mancha's landscape, just as Don Quixote did, dreaming of giants and adventures. The General Archive of the Indies in Seville, established in 1785, is a Renaissance masterpiece that houses millions of documents, maps, and records chronicling the administration of Spain's overseas territories. It preserves the documentary heritage of the Americas, Asia, and the Philippines, offering invaluable insights into Spain's colonial enterprise. Recognized for its outstanding universal value, the building was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site alongside the nearby cathedral and alcázares. Visitors can explore the beautiful public areas of the archive, experiencing its harmonic Renaissance architecture and historic grandeur. Torre Tavira in Cádiz is one of the best remaining examples of the merchant towers rising above the city, remarkable architectural symbols of Cádiz's central role as a trading port between Spain and its American colonies. These towers function both as family residences and defensive structures, embodying the commercial optimism and security needs of Cádiz's wealthy merchants during the empire's height. Today, Torre Tavira can be visited, offering an unrivaled panoramic view of Cádiz and its bay from 45 meters above sea level. One of the commodities entering through the port of Cádiz was tobacco. The Royal Tobacco Factory in Seville reflects Spain's economic dependence on its American colonies, as tobacco became one of the empire's most profitable commodities. Originally established as the first large-scale factory of its kind in Europe, it symbolizes Spain's mercantile wealth during the colonial period and its role in global trade networks. The factory's monumental architecture, influenced by Renaissance, Baroque, and Neoclassical styles, marked the urban landscape of Seville and was the largest civil building in Europe during the 18th and 19th centuries. Today, the building no longer functions as a factory, but as the rectorate building of the University of Seville. The transition from the Renaissance to the Baroque in Spain marks a shift from the harmonious balance and classical ideals of the Renaissance to the dramatic, ornate, and emotionally intense style of the Baroque. The Basilica of Nuestra Señora del Pilar in Zaragoza is a grand example of Baroque architecture. Notably, the basilica houses the Holy Chapel, where the venerated image of the Virgin Mary rests. Despite continuing work over centuries, including the completion of the central dome by 1872, the basilica is a monumental testimony to Spain's Baroque devotion and artistic genius. It remains a pivotal pilgrimage site and one of the most emblematic religious monuments in Spain. The Palacio Real de Aranjuez is one of Spain's royal jewels and a complex building that incorporates elements from multiple architectural periods. Construction began in earnest in 1561 under some of the most talented architects of the Renaissance. However, by the late 16th century, only parts of the palace were complete. The palace's development slowed due to political and financial difficulties until the 18th century. King Ferdinand VI oversaw extensive rebuilding efforts in the late Baroque style, adding grand staircases and the main facade. The immense gardens and palace complex form part of the Aranjuez cultural landscape, which was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2001. Recognized for its historical importance, architectural beauty, and landscaped nature that epitomizes royal Spanish leisure and power. The Plaza Mayor of Salamanca stands as a splendid final example of Spanish Baroque art, embodying the grandeur and decorative exuberance characteristic of the period. The square was built over a medieval marketplace and carefully planned with harmonious proportions. Its shape is surrounded by 88 arches supported by Doric columns and facades crafted from warm golden sandstone that shines beautifully in the sunlight. The medallions adorning the arches celebrate illustrious figures from Spanish history, including kings, saints, and writers, highlighting the city's academic prestige linked to its renowned university. Recognized by UNESCO as part of Salamanca's historic precinct, the Plaza Mayor is a testament to the city's rich architectural heritage and remains a bustling gathering place where history, art, and daily life converge. As the exuberance of the Spanish Baroque style gradually yielded to the clarity and restraint of neoclassicism in the 18th century, architectural monuments began to reflect the Enlightenment ideals of harmony, simplicity, and proportion. A prime example of this transition is the Puerta de Alcalá in Madrid, an iconic neoclassical gate commissioned by King Charles III as part of his ambitious urban renewal efforts. The Puerta de Alcalá was designed to serve as a grand ceremonial entrance to the city. The monument features 5 elegant arches crafted from durable granite. Its balanced symmetry, refined decoration, and commanding presence firmly established the Puerta de Alcalá as a masterpiece of neoclassical architecture and a lasting symbol of Madrid's 18th century transformation. Another exceptional example of neoclassical architecture is not far from the Puerta de Alcalá, the Museo del Prado in Madrid, the Prado Museum. It was originally conceived as the Royal Cabinet of Natural History, reflecting the Enlightenment ideals of science and rationality. The building was strategically placed to create a cultural axis that connects many of Madrid's leading institutions of art and science. The museum is part of the Landscape of Light, which was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This cultural landscape comprises the tree-lined Paseo del Prado, the Retiro Park, surrounded gardens, museums, and scientific institutions, epitomizing the union of nature, urban planning, art, and science in the heart of Madrid, with the Prado Museum standing as a key architectural and cultural landmark within this prestigious setting. The Barcelona Town Hall, or Casa de la Ciutat, Casa de la Ciutat in Catalan, is a fascinating monument where centuries of history are embodied in a single building. Its origins trace back to the 14th century, featuring the impressive Gothic Saló de Cent, where Barcelona's medieval governing council once sat. Over time, the building evolved, incorporating styles from different eras, including the elegant 19th century neoclassical facade you can see today. Visitors can explore this historic site through free guided tours held every Sunday morning, offering an immersive journey through the Gothic courtyard, the Saló de Cent, the plenary hall, and more. Before we step into contemporary history, one final monument from modern times stands out in Spain, the Royal Palace of Madrid. Built between 1738 and 1764 on the site of the old Alcázar destroyed by fire, this grand Baroque and neoclassical palace was commissioned by King Philip V as a symbol of Bourbon authority and Spain's royal power. It is the largest royal palace in Western Europe, with over 3,400 rooms housing priceless collections of art. Though no longer the royal family's residence, the palace remains the official venue for state ceremonies and an enduring emblem of Spain's history before the transformative events of the 19th century ushered in the contemporary era. After the splendors of the Bourbon monarchy and the construction of the royal palace in Madrid, Spain entered one of the most turbulent chapters in its history. The Peninsular War, locally known as the Spanish War of Independence, which erupted in 1808 following Napoleon's invasion, is widely regarded as the starting point of contemporary Spanish history. This conflict not only devastated the country, but also ignited national consciousness and set the stage for political and social transformations, including the rise of liberalism and constitutionalism. Following the discussion on the Peninsular War, it is natural to turn to one of the most evocative artistic representations of that conflict. Francisco de Goya's painting El 3 de Mayo in Madrid, the 3rd of May in Madrid, completed in 1814 and displayed in the Prado Museum, captures the brutal execution of Spanish rebels by French soldiers in Madrid. This powerful work memorializes the uprising against Napoleonic forces and stands as a seminal symbol of resistance and the human cost of war. This masterpiece offers a profound visual narrative of Spain's struggle during the birth of its contemporary history. Amidst the turbulent years of the Peninsular War, the Constitution of 1812, one of Spain's most important legal and historical milestones, was signed. The Oratorio de San Felipe Neris in Cádiz, with its elegant elliptical layout and richly decorated interior, served as the seat of the Cortes, the Assembly of Deputies from Spain and its overseas territories, where the constitution was debated and signed. Not far away, in the center of the Plaza de España, a grand monument dedicated to the constitution commemorates the spirit of liberalism and sovereignty encapsulated in the La Pepa Constitution, hailed as one of the earliest frameworks of modern democratic governance. The 19th century was also the period of the Industrial Revolution. Buildings began to incorporate some of the new materials that this revolution brought, including glass and ironwork. Atocha Station in Madrid is a prime example of 19th century railway architecture and a key monument in Spain's industrial and urban history. It was the first major railway station in Madrid, with its iconic iron and glass tropical garden hall added in 1892. Atocha represents both the early development of Spain's rail network and the 19th century architectural embrace of iron and glass structures, bridging traditional design and modern engineering advances. From Madrid's historic Atocha station, another perfect example of the innovative use of glass and iron emerges: the Palacio de Cristal in El Retiro Park. This elegant structure was inspired by the Crystal Palace of London and was originally designed as a greenhouse to house exotic plants. Its delicate iron framework and expansive glass panels create a luminous and airy space, showcasing Spain's embrace of industrial materials in architecture. This jewel of 19th century iron architecture marks a key step towards the modernization of Spanish architectural styles, bridging traditional forms and the upcoming modernism movement. And hey, if you really want to experience Madrid, Barcelona, and some other amazing Spanish destinations like a true local, don't miss our self-guided walking tours. These come packed with detailed itineraries, insider tips, and everything you need to explore the heart of each city. No guidebooks or tour groups required. It's like having a local friend show you all the best spots. Give them a look and get ready to discover your new favorite corner of Spain. Iron and glass were protagonists along the 19th century in Spain, and so it was the revival of historic styles, and the Arco del Triunfo, the Arc of Triumph in Barcelona, is an excellent example of the latter, heralding the arrival of modernism. Built in 1988 as the main gateway to the 1988 Universal Exposition, the arch combines neo-mudéjar design with rich sculptural decoration. Unlike other triumphal arches with military themes, Barcelona's Arch of Triumph celebrates artistic, scientific, and economic advancement. As such, it symbolizes both the historical revivalist currents of the 19th century and the emerging spirit of modernity that would blossom in the Catalan modernism movement. The second half of the 19th century was a prosperous period in Catalonia, giving rise to modernism, the local interpretation of Art Nouveau. This cultural and artistic movement emerged as a vibrant expression of Catalan identity, blending tradition with innovative design inspired by nature and modernity. Among the most important works of the period are the houses built by Antoni Gaudí, notably the Casa Batlló and Casa Milà, La Pedrera. The remarkable projects directed by Domènech i Montaner, including the Palau de la Música Catalana, and stretching into the 20th century, Gaudí's still unfinished masterpiece, the Sagrada Familia. But to illustrate Catalan modernism, we chose the outstanding Hospital de Sant Pau in Barcelona, a work of Domènech i Montaner. Built between 1902 and 1930, it was conceived as a garden city for healing, beautifully integrating architecture with the principles of hygiene and well-being. Its innovative use of ceramics, stained glass, and elaborate ornamentation exemplifies the artistic and technological achievements of the period. In recognition of its architectural and cultural significance, the Hospital de Sant Pau was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1997. While modernism was expanding, so too was trade unionism. Colonia Güell, founded in 1890 by industrialist Eusebi Güell near Barcelona, was created as a self-sufficient industrial village to escape the social unrest brewing in the city. It combined housing, schools, shops, and cultural facilities for workers under close company supervision, reflecting a circular economy where workers' wages returned to the employer. Notably, Antoni Gaudí was commissioned to design the church and other buildings, leaving a remarkable modernist architectural legacy. The crypt of the church at Colonia Güell, the centerpiece of Gaudí's architectural vision here, was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2005. This recognition highlights the crypt's innovative design. While textile drove Catalonia's rise, it was mines and shipbuilding that powered the Basque country's prosperity, a story vividly told by the modest Museum of Mining in the Basque Country in Gallarta. This museum, located next to a former open-pit mine, offers visitors a striking perspective on the sheer scale of mining operations in the region. The Basque Country's mining heyday stretched from the late 19th century into the early 20th century, when iron production surged dramatically. This mining wealth was deeply intertwined with the rise of shipbuilding. The iron extracted locally supplied the raw materials essential for the expanding shipyards in Bilbao and surrounding ports. These shipyards built and maintained vessels that propelled the region's industrial growth and maritime trade, creating a symbiotic relationship where mining supported shipbuilding and shipbuilding in turn drove demand for more iron, both industries forming the durable foundation of Basque prosperity in the 19th century. The trend of reviving historical styles continued well into the 20th century. The Palacio de Comunicaciones, the Palace of Communications in Madrid, was a prime example, combining neo-Gothic and neo-Baroque elements. The Palacio de Cibeles, as the building is also known, stands as a remarkable symbol of Madrid's modernization in the early 20th century. This monumental structure was intended as the headquarters for the Spanish Post Office. Its grand architectural style, combined with advanced construction techniques for its time, made it a beacon of progress and innovation in Spain's capital. Located at the Plaza de Cibeles, the palace bore witness to significant historical events and urban transformation in Madrid. Along with grand buildings designed to house public service providers like the Palacio de Comunicaciones, Spain developed a unique architectural typology, the bull ring. Among these monumental arenas, the Plaza de Toros de las Ventas in Madrid stands out as the most iconic and architecturally significant. Las Ventas is a striking example of the neo-mudéjar style, a language inspired by Moorish art and characterized by ornate brickwork, horseshoe arches, and colorful ceramic tile decorations. While the bullring is a historic and cultural site, it is important to acknowledge that bullfighting is a highly controversial practice. Some see it as an integral part of Spanish heritage, while others, including many globally, advocate for its end due to concerns about animal cruelty. Major global events such as international exhibitions were responsible for some extraordinary projects. One magnificent example is the Plaza de España in Seville. This monumental complex was built as the centerpiece for the Ibero-American Exposition of 1929. Built in a richly decorated mix of Renaissance revival and Moorish influences, the Plaza de España features a massive central building flanked by two neo-Baroque towers, a canal with ornate bridges, and ceramic tile benches representing Spain's provinces. It stands majestically within the lush Maria Luisa Park and remains one of Seville's most iconic landmarks, embodying the spirit of connection between Spain and the wider Ibero-American world. One typology of buildings where iron and glass were incredibly popular in the 20th century was markets. Among them, Valencia's Central Market stands out as a magnificent example. The market covers about 8,000 square meters and boasts a stunning modernist architectural style. This architectural marvel features a beautiful combination of iron columns reminiscent of Gothic cathedrals, colorful ceramic tiles, and expansive stained glass windows. The interior is vast and arranged like a grand cathedral of commerce, with multiple domes, including a central dome rising 30 meters high. The market remains a bustling hub of fresh produce and traditional Spanish culinary culture, making it a living monument to the region's history, progress, and Mediterranean vitality. The most important and traumatic event in contemporary Spanish history was the Spanish Civil War, which took place between 1936 and 1939. The Alcázar of Toledo, a historic fortress built by King Charles V in the 16th century, became one of the most iconic symbols of nationalist resistance during the war. The fortress endured a siege at the beginning of the war. Despite heavy artillery bombardments and attempts to breach its walls, the Alcázar remained resilient until it was relieved by nationalist troops. The siege and relief of the Alcázar were heavily propagandized by Franco's regime, cementing its status as a potent symbol of military strength and ideological steadfastness. Currently, the Alcázar houses a military museum and a public library, preserving its storied history and legacy for visitors. On the hills above Barcelona, the Turó de la Rovira batteries represent the city's military defense during the Spanish Civil War. This artillery installation formed part of the anti-aircraft and ground defenses protecting Barcelona from relentless nationalist bombardment. The battery was equipped with 4 guns, which, although limited in power, served to deter attacks and protect civilians from the carpet bombing campaigns carried out primarily by Italian and German aviation forces supporting Franco. Today, visitors can explore the well-preserved gun placements and tunnel networks, which vividly illustrates the strategic significance of the site in defending the Republican stronghold. In addition to its military importance, Turó de la Rovira offers splendid panoramic 360-degree views of Barcelona, making it a poignant historical and visual landmark. Belchite near Zaragoza is a ghost town preserved as a monument to the destruction of the Spanish Civil War. The town was almost completely destroyed during the 1937 Battle of Belchite, where fierce Republican offensives battled to break nationalist control. The battle involved intense urban combat, aerial bombardment, and heavy artillery fire, which left the town in ruins. Rather than rebuild, Franco's regime ordered the ruins to be left untouched as a living reminder of the war's devastation and the Republican struggle. A new Belchite was constructed nearby, but the original remains serve today as an evocative open-air museum. You will be able to explore bombed buildings and ruined churches, walking among the scars of one of Spain's bloodiest conflicts. Guided tours are available through the local tourist office, offering insights into the history and symbolism of this haunting site. Cartagena was a strategic Republican stronghold during the Spanish Civil War, and its military and industrial importance made it a frequent target for nationalist air raids carried out primarily by German and Italian aircraft supporting Franco. In response, extensive underground air raid shelters were constructed. These shelters could accommodate thousands of people and featured multiple access points, first aid rooms, and long tunnels. Today, part of these shelters has been restored and converted into the Civil War Shelter Museum, offering visitors a powerful insight into the city's wartime experience. The museum guides visitors through galleries explaining the bombings, the organization of passive and active defense, and the profound changes the war brought to daily life in Cartagena. Spain, devastated after the Civil War, did not participate in the Second World War. For this reason, unlike many other European countries, Spain does not have remnants of any direct wartime confrontations. However, there is a monumental building hidden in the Pyrenees Mountains whose walls bear the memory of many episodes related to the conflict. The Estación Internacional de Canfranc, the Canfranc International Station. Built in 1928, the station became the perfect stage during the war for countless stories of espionage involving the French resistance, British intelligence, and the German Gestapo. During the years of the conflict, the tracks at Canfranc witnessed the arrival of gold expropriated from Jews and originating from Swiss banks, as well as the departure of valuable minerals essential for the German war machine. Additionally, there was a continuous flow of people fleeing the Holocaust. After the war came the long and cruel dictatorship. If there is one single monument that encapsulates the violence, misery, and repression carried out by the winners of the war, it is the monument at the Valle de los Caídos, the Valley of the Fallen, officially renamed as Valle de Cuelgamuros. Construction began in 1940, ordered by dictator Franco. The project was envisioned as a memorial to those who died in the conflict, but it was carried out using a combination of free laborers and around 20,000 forced political prisoners under harsh conditions. The Valley of the Fallen remains one of Spain's most controversial monuments, symbolizing not only the grandiosity of the Franco's regime's propaganda, but also the deep scars and suffering caused by decades of violence and repression. Its grandiose architecture conceals a dark history tied to the dictatorship, making it a potent symbol of historical memory for present-day Spain. After 1975 and the arrival of democracy, Spain experienced a renewed economic boom, with tourism becoming a cornerstone of the country's growth. On the island of Lanzarote in the Canary Islands, the Jameos del Agua stands as one of the most iconic creations by local artist César Manrique, who swam against the tide of mass tourism wreaking havoc along much of Spain's tourist destinations. Manrique championed a model of tourism development rooted in respect for the island's unique volcanic landscape and cultural heritage. The Jameos del Agua project transformed a natural volcanic cave, a crater, into a stunning cultural and artistic center. It harmoniously blends nature, architecture, and creativity, a hallmark of Manrique's philosophy where art and nature coexist without one overpowering the other. The Guggenheim Museum Bilbao has had one of the most profound impacts on a city through architecture and culture. Designed by Canadian architect Frank Gehry, the museum stands on a redeveloped former wharf along the Nervión River, a site that once symbolized Bilbao's industrial decline. The Guggenheim's opening marked a turning point for Bilbao. It spurred what became known as the Bilbao effect, a phenomenon where an innovative architectural project triggers urban regeneration, cultural growth, and increased tourism. Before the museum, Bilbao was often seen as an industrial city in decline. After, it transformed into a vibrant cultural destination and a symbol of successful post-industrial renewal. The City of Arts and Sciences is another landmark project that dramatically reshaped the city where it was built. Located on the former riverbed of the Turia River, this cultural complex revitalized a neglected urban area, turning Valencia into a leading destination for culture and innovation. The first building was inaugurated in 1998, the final one completed in 2009. The design integrates striking sculptural forms and water elements symbolizing renewal, reflecting the city's embrace of modernity and creativity. The complex features a long axis of interconnected buildings, blending science, art and nature, which has become a symbol not only of architectural innovation, but also of Valencia's urban and cultural renaissance. In spite of the scandalous cost overruns and delays, the project firmly established Valencia as a top cultural destination in Spain and worldwide. Las setas, the mushrooms in Seville, are the final example of urban transformation we will visit today. They are one of Seville's most remarkable architectural landmarks. The project originated in response to plans to renovate an old square which had become neglected. The idea was to create a modern structure that would revitalize the area while respecting its historic roots. The complex includes 6 mushroom-shaped parasols with levels dedicated to a market, a public plaza, walkways offering panoramic city views, and an archaeological museum in the basement displaying Roman ruins discovered during the construction of Las Setas. This bold structure has become a symbol of urban renewal and innovative architecture, blending Seville's historic layers with contemporary design. Cecilia and I discussed at length how to end our list of monuments, and perhaps to the surprise of many, we chose a football stadium. Throughout history, we explored many cult sites, including a generous list of cathedrals, and it could be argued that in 21st century Spain, football stadiums draw more faithful to their grounds than any other places of reverence. Our choice of Bilbao is no coincidence. For decades, both the old and new San Mamés stadiums have been affectionately known as La Catedral, the Cathedral. The old San Mamés Stadium officially opened in 1913, quickly becoming a beloved home for athletic club. The new San Mamés Stadium, inaugurated in 2013, offers contemporary amenities while embodying the spirit and history of its predecessor. The stadium's museum invites visitors to delve deeply into the history of the city and region, much like we have done throughout this video, reinforcing San Mamés not just as a sports venue, but as a cultural landmark and living monument to Bilbao's identity. In Bilbao, we wrap up this incredible journey through Spain's rich history and diverse culture. We hope you have enjoyed exploring these iconic monuments and sites with us. Each location tells its own story, connecting you not just to Spain's past, but to the vibrant energy of its present. Whether it's old cathedrals, innovative architecture, or beloved modern landmarks like the Cathedral of Football we've just seen, these places are more than just buildings. They are living pieces of history and culture waiting to be discovered. Now on your screen you will see a list of videos packed with basic advice to help you prepare the perfect trip to Spain. These guides will make planning your Spanish adventure easier and more exciting. We're waiting for you from now on those videos.